Arcticblaze, written by Porscha Aubrey, narrated by Porscha Aubrey. Chapter 1: Pain and Questions. I wake up with a pounding headache. I wish that were the only pain I felt, because not even a moment later, I'm drowned in excruciating pain. It feels like every single one of my limbs have been torn off and melted back on hundreds of times. My hair feels like millions of mosquitoes and beetles crawling at my head and feasting on my brain. The sounds of my screaming flood the air, nearly making me wish I were death, or even dead for that matter. There's a mixed taste of blood and the sourly bitterness of death, like someone had made a scorching hot soup out of the blood of every demon imaginable and poured every last drop down my throbbing throat. All I can smell is sweat, blood, and death as I scream until my lungs feel like they're going to explode. My vision is non-existent. I can't even bear to open my eyes as I squirm and shake from the pain flaring up within me. It feels like a volcano of death has just erupted and is reaching up into another universe, escaping my body completely. Lexus! I can't make out whose voice it is. I can barely even hear them over the deafening sounds of my blood-curdling screams. I'm no longer able to move. The pain is still destroying me from within, but I lose the ability to move any of my limbs. My mouth goes numb. It feels like it's falling off. The muscles and nerves tearing with every second of agonizing pain. Don't let it consume you! I'm then reminded of where I am and what I have to do. It's impossible to focus on not letting the blessing destroy me when all I can do is scream and suffer. I just want to die. Please, please end me now. My eyes start to tear up, and my face begins to soak in the tears caused by my torment. No! I shout over my ear-splitting shrieks. I refuse to end this way. I shut my eyes even tighter than before, mentally repeating to myself, I will win. I will win. Everything turns painfully cold, and I lose my ability to speak. The room around me is silent. I can hear the apprehensive breaths and heartbeats of the people around me. It feels as though I'm stuck between two worlds, a freezing cold world, full of pain and secrets, and a terrifyingly dark world, full of lies and death. Half of me feels calm, yet alone, and the other half feels depressed, but surrounded by loved ones. Both are a painfully alone feeling. I see the silhouette of a man in the freezing cold world. I've never seen him before, and his features are too faint to figure out. I can sense that he's smiling, though. I feel like he's trying to say something, but nothing leaves his mouth. I feel like someone or something grab my arm on the other side, in the dark, deadly side, and I nearly jump at their touch as the pain almost instantly goes away. The other world closes off, and I lose sight of the man entirely. I look around to see she smiling and holding my arm. Cerberus is scratching at my stomach and whining. Looks like you've finally taken control of the blessing. I'm breathing heavily. Every breath the pain fades further and further into memory. Almost like it wasn't that big of a deal. But it was. It was a painfully big deal. An agonizingly big deal. I switch my gaze from she to the rest of my body as I finally get feeling back in my limbs. A thick layer of death surrounded me from the neck down. Is holding Cerberus back so he doesn't touch it. However, something looks off about it. It doesn't look like sap or mist, but dry. Sap and mist can't be dry, especially mist. So what is it then? I stare back at the she, giving him a look asking for an explanation. He smiles wider. It's smoke. I tilt my head slightly. You just need to learn to control it. I tilt my head slightly. Your death power can now turn to several different substances. You just need to learn to control it. Something feels different, and I shoot my focus back to my body. It changed to some sort of sand with the help of some sort of sand. With the help of she, I slowly sit up and let the deadly sand seep through my fingers. So many questions, I say in amazement as I play in the blackness. You can ask them while we review the training regiment, Delio says, nervously, and the three of the others walk out, taking Cerberus and Fire with them. She and I are left alone once again. He examines the dust while I continue to play with it like a child. Your voice. I start, suddenly stopping with moving the sand around. She stops and gazes at me, his eyes hypnotizing me for a moment. In my dreams, when it was deep, before you told me to die. Why? She shakes his head. That wasn't me. I gave him a look, telling him to tell me who it was. If you recall, before you had Anthony in your dreams, and his voice was the same way. So you think it was Anthony? There's a chance. His smile fades slightly, and he stares down at the sand. Although, I don't think it was. He doesn't look at my face, but he can tell that I'm confused. I think it was a manifestation of your depression. I gulp and freeze up. What was that guy in that world? Who was he? Is he my depression? Did I create an entire human with my dreams? That's cool yet terrifying, especially since it's my depression and not something a little more positive like Anne Smart's or Samuel's heart. Why was I taken to your tomb? I quickly switched the subject. I'd rather not talk about my emotions right now. What was with all the fire? It's an important part of my life. Well, my life and Hawkeye's life, he answers. His face lightens up a bit, but his smile doesn't grow. Being taken there is to help you grow connection with the person blessing you. He finally smiles slightly. The fire was always there. I just made it seem darker for dramatic effect. I laugh and punch him in the shoulder. He gazes into my eyes, smiling as he rubs it. But why was the fire there? It's kind of like our soul or spirit, he answers, trying to think of a good way to explain it. If the fire goes out, then Hawkeye and I will die. That's also what Demon helps to defend. I thought that if Demon dies, or if the tomb is destroyed, then both of you die. He shakes his head. If one dies, then the other can still live. Like if Demon dies and my casket is perfectly fine, then Hawkeye would die and I'd live. He continues to speak. I notice his face turns sorrowful as he stares back at the sand. If the flames go out, then both of us die, no matter the condition of Demon or my casket. A sudden realization shoots through me. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. He smiles weakly at me, trying to hold back the tears in his eyes. I can just ask you the rest of the questions later. I won't. I don't want to see him like this again. So desolate. I'll just let all my questions go. Toss them into the wind. I don't want to keep on reminding him of all the negatives. Before she can respond, the death feels like it's changing again. We both take in the death in front of me as it begins to change. My clothes begin to dampen, and my skin soaks some of it up. Water? She mumbles, in amazement, his mouth gaping open. You made death water. His amazement turns to shock with a hint of fear. He jumps back, wincing and holding his hand. Did I hurt him? I do a double take from him to the water and back. His face is sour, but then he studies the liquid for a moment, longer, and becomes proud. You made an element that is a natural enemy to your main element. He grins at me, still holding his hand. You have the chance of getting better at water than Lucas now. His grin turns to a smirk, and he carefully inches towards me. Did I hurt you? I finally ask, eyeing his hand. He stares at it for a few seconds, then shakes his head. gazing into my eyes. Nah, I'm fine. He chuckles softly. I'm the one that blessed you. You can't be stronger than me already. He pats the top of my head, still smiling wholeheartedly and gazing into my eyes. A tingly feeling occurs nearby my heart. Maybe do a few lifetimes of training and we'll finally be equals. Can you turn your death into water? I ask, not looking away from his gaze and allowing a slight smirk to spread across my face. Let's get to training. His smile grows stronger, and he rushes to his feet. His pleasant scent flows everywhere as he stands up. He grabs my hand and pulls me up. I then realize that my skin has completely absorbed the moisture of deathly water. Even my clothes are dry now. I laugh at his avoidance and follow him out of the room. Before we get to the room where Joangson and the others are supposed to be waiting, she looks sidelong at me. He speaks in laughter. I'm surprised that you didn't notice. I glance back at him as we get closer to the room. Notice what? He smirks. Just wait. We turn into the room, and then I notice it. Cerberus is huge, even larger than before. How did I not notice that? I could have sworn that he was still small. What in the hell? I stare at the giant, nearly 10-foot tall puppy as it runs up to me and starts licking me wildly. I look at everyone in the room. Johangen and Joangson burst into laughter. How did I not notice this? I shout as I pet Cerberus. She joins the two others in laughing their asses off. You were in too much pain for your brain to register all the changes. Delisle answers, since he's the only one that can manage an answer. How did he even fit through the door? I glance behind me at the door that can probably reach 7 feet tops. He crawled through, Delisle answers, easily knowing what my question is. I look around the room, searching for fire. Delisle laughs softly. He's still the same size, don't worry. I notice fire sitting on top of Cerberus. He is a lot stronger now, though. The three others finally stop laughing, and they start wiping tears from their eyes. She places his arm around my shoulder and smiles with admiration. Ready to start training and test out your new strength? I gaze down to my hands, watching as my veins change from different shades of black. How would everyone react to my new look? I haven't even seen myself in a mirror yet. How much have I actually changed? I scan the vast open field in front of me. What kind of training will I be doing? Will it involve Cerberus? How flammable is this field? I turn my attention back to she, tossing all of my questions out of the window. I nod. Ready. Training after that was taxing. It feels like every muscle in my body was given a lifetime worth of workouts in just 2 hours. At one point, blood even started coming out of almost every hole in my body, even my ears. That was even before we started working on death or fire, or even any of my powers. That was just a warm-up. Although I think she also did it as a joke just so he can laugh at my suffering. I wouldn't be surprised if it were. Though with my body being that sore, it made it much easier to hold back when we actually started training. It helped me not kill anyone. I managed to master changing my death into several different substances, including solids. I also managed to make millions of tiny mites instead of just one huge one, so I guess that's good. I learned so much in such a short amount of time, and that's only the beginning of my training. I wonder how far ahead of me she really is, and how much she holds back every single day. The end.